introduction to the show. I am thrilled to have Austin Moe back on the show. Young guitar player, singer, songwriter out of Sacramento, California, part of the Frank Hannon Productions group of artists. So many he's got there. You guys are just killing it over there.
Thank you.
He is about to release a follow-up single to The River, which garnered praise from radio people and industry people all over the place. The single is called Take a Walk in My Shoes, and it is another killer track, and it's set to be released June 25th. Austin, again, great to have you back, man.
Thanks for having me back. It's a real honor.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I look at how young you are. You're my son's age. The popular genres that are in your generation are, hip hop, rap, that kind of thing, pop.
Mm-hmm.
Do you listen to anything like that? Like, I know I see him, what he listens to on Spotify, and he's got a teaching degree. He plays bass. He loves Iron Maiden. He loves Rage Against the Machine, but he also loves Kendrick Lamar.
Looking for a band?
What was that? What was that?
You looking for a band?
Yeah, it would be great. I'd love to hear what you guys could do together. But he's all over the board, and he is influenced by some of that stuff that is popular today. Do you find yourself influenced by that at all? Do you listen to it? What is hot today?
No. So the closest that I can say that I've listened to rock is like Primetime Usher and Kid Rock. And actually, the next song that I'm planning on, and this is a couple months down the road, it's called I'm Wanted. And I was listening to a lot of Kid Rock, like Cowboy and stuff one day.
Yeah.
And so it's like semi-rap rock kind of vibe. And it turned out really killer, and Frank did a really great job producing it.
Cool.
And so that's something to look forward to. But listening to like mainstream, not really, as far as like the top 40 of whatever's playing today. The closest that I would say is when like Dirty Honey comes out with a new album, or Rival Sons, or like if Greta Van Fleet releases a new single, or AC/DC. But other than that, I'm pretty much just listening to the good stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you are ingrained in that older that bluesy guitar thing, and it really shows through in the way you do your music, you write your music, you play your music. There is a real influence there, and you are following those footsteps. It's great to hear that kind of stuff coming from somebody your age. Take a Walk in My Shoes. Lyrically, it's great. Musically, it's got that fat groove. It's just a killer riff.
Thank you.
What were you trying to say? Now, lyrically, it's very strong. It's very socially conscious of the age we're living in today, and the conditions. What were you trying to say lyrically in this song?
So when we got together, we workshopped this song for many months in last year, 2020. And at the time, almost every single time you turn on the news, somebody either was, there was a riot going on, or some sort of mass, conflict. And so the headspace where I was at wanting to write for the lyrics is, when the media, this is my perspective, it's everybody is the right to their own opinion. But when I've noticed that they say, these people are terrible, don't like them, or, these people, you should never associate with these people. From my perspective, you don't really know what the other person's story is. And so it's very easy to automatically go, oh, well, because I'm this politically biased, that person can't be my friend, or vice versa, rather than getting to know the person and really trying to understand their point of view and trying to come together, which is kind of the the message of the song and the chorus and stuff is, you know, we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should join hands and, you know, be more united rather than a country divided, kind of a thing.
Absolutely. And yeah, and it's very clear that that's what it says. And you know, it's just like I say, it's poignant in its delivery. It's just, you know, it's strong. You know, I'm a music guy. When I listen to music, I'm not so much of a lyric guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, unless there's that total package. You know,
Yeah.
I can have bad lyrics and still really like a song if it's got that fat groove and that really heavy, you know, just stuff I like. If it's in my
Oh,
wheelhouse.
totally.
But when it's a total package, it's really something special. And I think this is that. You know, it's got that music that's just killer, but it does have a lyrical message and it's phrased very well and it's sung very well.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, and you're singing on it. You know, I always think of you when your name comes up and I see the way you play, I think of you as a guitar player. Uh,
Yeah.
that may change the more songs I hear because this is very strong vocally. How do you feel about yourself and the way you perform? Do you feel like your voice is as strong as your guitar playing?
Well, right now with we have a lot of recorded material that is going to be released this year, and I feel that my vocals have definitely developed since going and hanging out and being mentored with Frank, and my recent trip to Boston to go work with this other producer. They're both very similar in the way that they push me vocally and with my music, but learning certain little techniques and even going all the way back from when I was mentored by Twana Turner, there's things that I'm starting to put together and add, like muscle techniques in your diaphragm and stuff, that I feel are really starting to take hold in how I project my voice and how I attack a song, so to speak. So a lot of people live when I do clubs and stuff, I actually get more compliments on my voice than I do my guitar playing, which is good,
Yeah.
but I'm a guitar player by nature, and so now I'm at that point where I'm like, well, what can I do to grab more people with my guitar? You know?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I would, you know, exactly. Your guitar playing is what I think of you for. You know, but the more I hear things, and I would imagine at a club gig when you're singing a whole show,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
you have that soul. You know, you're living it, you're breathing it. Yeah, it's oozing out of you in a way that you're not just looking at the lyric sheet and singing what's on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it comes from here and here. Uh, it's it's a voice. It's a meaning. It's an emotional voice, and that is partnered with your playing. It's something else. It's really great. Um, what inspires you to write? You know, these are the latest track is socially conscious and it's about the world we're living in.
Mm-hmm.
um you know, I listen to stuff that's about dragons and fire and brimstone and stuff
We're
like
off
that.
to the witch,
There
and we
you
might
go.
not return. Deal.
Exactly. You know, do you write anything like that? You know, are you ever in that headspace, or is it just about raw human emotion usually?
Well, recently it's more or less what's happened, either like, for example, this song, it was all the time people telling me, you know, or not me, but the American people, the media telling, don't do this, don't do that, blah, 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 blah. And so as of lately, it's been more or less the experiences that I've had happen to me is what comes out in these songs. And sometimes it's, you know, just writing down an idea just to get out that pure emotion of whatever I'm feeling and then putting it on the shelf. And I've got a bunch of those. And so a lot of it right now is based off of pure emotion and what I've felt. However, what I've been doing lately for choruses is I'll write the verses out and how I think they should sound, and then I'll leave it for like a week or so, come back, and then whatever I just habitually listen to, like this most recent idea I've listened to a lot of Sticks lately. And
Nice.
Tommy Shaw, man, oh my God, just a vocal freaking angel. And
Yep.
so I'll listen to, I think it was You're Fooling Yourself was the idea that like I tried to get my headspace into, because it just lifts the song and it just becomes so airy. And so that's what I've been doing lately to try and experiment with ideas and different sounds to see what complements the song best.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned that band, and that's a band that I've seen more than any band ever. I'm on like 50 something times now.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
yeah. I spend my
Wow.
life, well, every year I see them, 6, 7 times, and they're just every time they're absolutely flawless.
Oh,
His
yeah.
voice, Man in the Wilderness just knocks me out. They always do Man in the Wilderness from the B side of Grand Illusion, and it's one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite songs. And he is something to behold. Tommy Shaw, amazing guy, and a super guy too, which is always nice. Uh,
Yeah, he seems like a pretty cool dude.
he really, really is. He's a sweet person. He really is. But you said, now you teased a little Boston producer thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Is I want to ask you, if you can't talk about it, obviously we totally understand. Is that something that you can give us a little bit insight to?
Well, yeah. So back, rewinding a couple of months ago, while I was working with Frank, he was very busy working with his two other artists, JT Lux and Red Voodoo.
Mhm.
And so in California, things were starting to open up, meaning venues and bars and stuff. So I was trying to refresh my set list a little bit. And I'm a huge fan of Pink Floyd. David Gilmour is just
Mm.
my all-time guitar god. If I get a call to even be a triangle player, I'm flying to wherever he's playing, dude. I don't care.
Absolutely.
And so I looked up their song Young Lust off of That's the Wall, right? I
Yep.
believe. Yeah.
Yep.
And so I came across this video, and how I learn music is I'll look up a guitar cover generally, or just type in whatever it is, cover. And so I'll watch people play, and that's how I teach myself, because I'm a very visual learner. Well, this guy by the name of Joe Merrick totally flipped the song on its head and just rocked it out. Like the original is great, but he made it like modern, just freaking in your face. Awesome. So I watched the video like 5 times in a row. It just stopped me in my tracks. So I sent the link to my parents, and not thinking anything of it, I was just like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. My dad actually found his phone number, left him a message at night. And because of the time difference, it was probably like 5 a.m. when they received it. And my dad was at work. And so Joe, the producer, calls my dad. He's like, hey, this is Joe Merrick. Is this blah, blah, blah from Los Angeles? And my dad was like, no, I just came across your video. I didn't expect you to call at all. And so we talked for a couple of weeks, Joe and I, and then we came up with the idea of how about Joe record drums and bass for these songs. We went out and recorded 3 songs, and then he would shoot me back the ideas, and I was just blown away, because I would send him, like, for an analogy, I'll send him ice cream, right? I'll send it to him. He'll bring back a sundae with a fucking whipped cream, cherry, flakes of gold sprinkled on top, and
Right.
it blows my mind. And so the
Isn't that
first time he
cool?
did that, I was like, oh yeah, this dude is legit. So within a month, we flew out to Boston, and I was only there for 3 days. And in the studio, we were over, I would say, 30 hours in 3 days, just recording and making music. And so it was a fantastic experience. But
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was exhausted.
I bet you were. That's a stand in 3 days. Wow, that is a lot
Yeah.
of hours put
10
in.
hour days minimum.
Yeah, wow, very cool, very cool. And you got 3 songs off.
Yeah, we're actually going to record more in September, and we're toying with the notion of releasing that article of work as an EP, probably like November, December area.
Very cool, very cool. Now, were those co-written with Frank?
A couple of them were, yeah.
Okay.
These most recent tunes, one of them was, and then Frank kind of molded one a little bit and produced it semi. And then while he was busy working with JT and Red Voodoo, I sent them to Joe, and he just totally took it to another level.
Nice, nice. Does Frank know Joe? From the industry or anything like that?
I don't believe so, but while we were in Boston, Frank had reached out to him, and I believe they were probably talking on one of our breaks or something over
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, that's great. That's even another great guy to have in your corner. It's very cool to hear. Exciting, to get different views too.
Oh
'Cause,
yeah,
yeah,
totally.
when when you're writing and recording with and you have the same people looking at it, you may not see things that an outside pair of eyes or ears might see or hear.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, so that's
that's definitely for sure.
yeah, that's great. That's great. How many more songs do you have that written with Frank? Um, Quite a
We
few.
have recorded with Frank at his studio too, but in total, including the songs that I just came from Boston, 3.
Hmm, nice, awesome. Yeah, that's great. And the EP, somewhat sometime later in the year, possibly. It's good
Yeah.
news. Very cool. Any plans to do a video? The video for the river is just killer. Really scenic, Northern California, I understand.
Hmm.
Just really majestic, and the way it was filmed is really great. Emotional again. Baptizing in the river,
Yeah.
just that. Just really great film work and the concept. I really, I was thinking about that when I listened to Take a Walk in My Shoes. You could really tap onto something visually for that as well.
Hmm.
Do you have a video planned?
We're currently with management and stuff. We're talking about shooting a video with the same videographer who did do the river. He's a really good friend of mine. His name is Kelly Smith, and so I can't say for certain 100% yes, but it is something that I really want to do.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's
hopefully,
I hope so too. I'm trying to picture this in my head, and the river has such a cool vibe to it, man. I mean, it's just enhanced. You listen to it, the audio of it, and it's obviously a great song. It's got a really good vibe to it
hmm
on its own, but the video just enhances the song, which is really great because a lot of times you have an okay song and a great video maybe that kind of overcomes that song. The song is just great, and the video is just enhances the song. And I think that's important,
oh yeah,
just the way it was made to enhance what's already there is great. In this one, like I say, I see it. I can see
Mhm.
it. I can see a video. I hope I can actually. I hope you get one for sure.
Yeah, me
Uh,
too.
yeah. The band you have in the river, 3-piece power trio kind of thing.
Hmm.
Uh, Stephen Michael Martin power drums on that one, man. Do you have the same rhythm section with you on this track?
So on these tracks, I do not with Steven on drums and Spencer on bass. Spencer actually moved out of state to live with his family and follow his career. He's been pursuing the life of a full-time electrician.
Okay.
And so while we were filming, he was finishing up his schooling, and I believe it was the second week of last month, Spencer and I had our last show with Steven, and Steven has actually been doing a lot of filming in movies down in LA.
Mhm.
So while he's been filming, it was actually a funny story. I put out an ad on Craigslist with my with Spencer's knowledge of letting him know, hey, I'm going to be looking for somebody while you're, finishing up your schooling. You're going to be moving here soon. So if venues open up, I don't want to be without the opportunity to go out and kind of refresh my name locally.
Right.
So this dude hit me up like an hour and a half, I think, past Jackson, which is almost a good hour away from me currently, Jackson, California.
Yeah.
And he's a bass player. And he's like, oh, this is, blah, blah, blah. Can I come out and jam and audition? So I said, sure. So he comes over. We're jamming pretty much all day. And I told him, I was like, hey, man, if you want to stay the night, like, he didn't give me any weird vibes or anything. I could tell, he was cool. And plus, we would know if anything went awry.
Right.
And I was like, I don't really want you to crash and burn while you're on your way home. It's a really long drive. So he stayed the night and left the next day. And so I called Frank up and I was like, hey, man, I just met this great bass player. Things are really starting to look up. And he goes, oh, well, do you have a drummer? And I said, no, I don't. But he says he knows a really good drummer. And he says he's really killer. He's my age. And then Frank just out of the blue goes, and this is Tuesday, mind you. He goes, well, if you guys want to come in Saturday, I have studio time Saturday and Sunday. And I was like, I mean, I'll make it work if they want to do it. And so I called these two guys who I've never met, really.
Wow.
I go, hey, man, this is my name. This is who I am. These are the songs. Do you want to go and meet Frank Hannon at Tesla? They were like, oh, my God, yes. And I was like, okay, well, here's the deal. You're going to live at my house for the rest of the week. You got to call in sick or something with your jobs. And you just got to come and make it happen. And they're like, well, we're not even working this week. We got the week off. And I was like, perfect. So they drove down. We probably put an easy like 40 plus hours into 4 songs. And we ended up getting to record 3 out of the 4. And it was a really great experience. The drummer was killer. And actually that riff after the chanty stuff, the drum intro was, we had the click track on and Frank just goes, just start doing some riffs. I hear a drum riff. This is after we recorded the song. And he goes, but I can't just, I feel like it should start with drums. And so he did like probably 10 or 15. And out of that, we chose the one that's currently on the single.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And the guys I'm hearing on this single are those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Just two dudes that were really killer in the studio. And, I'm really thankful for the work that they put in, because they could have just, been like, nah, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big move kind of thing. And
oh yeah.
Yeah. And they were had they recorded in the studio before?
Yes, but not with somebody of that status before. Yeah. They've recorded with local producers and stuff, but going from that to, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna go hang out with freaking one of the biggest rock stars ever.
Right. Yeah, that's a little you got to be ready for that. And it sounds like they were, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask you too, when you were 16, which is 2014, you were chosen to play in Europe.
Oh yeah,
with the Blues Kids of America. And I think about that, and I'm like, you had to be in a group of peers that were of similar talent. Tell me about that experience and maybe how it shapes some of what you do today.
Well, way before I even considered auditioning for the Blues Kids of America, I got inducted. Well, no. It was even before that. So I don't even remember what we were trying to do. My mom was up one night trying to find an outlet for me to go out of state or something, just to get exposed to kids more similar, like musically, to me. Because
Mhm.
when I was 16, I was in high school. I think I was a junior. Yeah, junior or maybe sophomore to junior summer area. And the teachers didn't like me because I would go to these jams and they were during the week. So I'd be out, I'd do my homework all the time. I'd get it done. I'd pass, but I'd fall asleep in class because I'd be out until 1, 2, sometimes 3, depending on the weather. If there was a storm, we'd
Right.
be locked in. And so my mom came across this website called the Blues Kids of America, and they had just finished their Los Angeles blues camp, and the Chicago blues camp, the auditions ended that day that we pulled up the website. And my mom tells me, oh, they have a blues camp in London, England. You should audition. I'm like, where are we going to get the money to go to London, England? Like, our financial status. And she's like, I don't care. You need to audition. Like, you need to do this. And so we
That's
fought
awesome.
back and forth because I'm stubborn just like she is. And she eventually coaxed me into it. And so I got out my little tiny Tascam recorder. This is at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And my dad, before I blew up the power amp, had a Harman Kardon sound system with Sherwin-Williams monitors that were like probably 15 inches, 215 tweeters, I think, and one 18-inch sub. So the monitors, and it's not going to represent on the screen, but they were like this tall, man. And I'm sitting down almost on the floor. So they were huge, and it was 300 watts. So I cranked that, and the way that the volume worked on that machine was it went from negative 99 to 0 and then positive. And once you get positive, it starts distorting.
Right.
So I went to about negative like 30. And I got my Music Man half stack. I put that in between a chair and I grabbed my little tiny $100 Tascam recorder, had an X and Y microphone. I stuck that right in the middle, and on the website, it listed a bunch of blues songs, which a lot of them, granted, I never heard. However, at the bottom, it was like, well, also, if, in addition to these songs, you can do, because a lot of it was just like, oh, 145 in A, 145 in C or D or whatever different keys.
Right.
Then it did actual music, which was the very first one was BB King's The Thrill Is Gone. So I was like, oh, I can do that. I've played that a million times at the jams.
Right.
I found it online. I burnt it to a CD. I put it in the CD player. I played it one time, and I'm sure I can find the original audio somewhere on a PC that we have. And I sent it to the people before I sent it to my mom. And then I sent it to my mom, and she goes, well, wouldn't you want to do a little better? Like, I know you can play better than that. And I was like, dude, I already sent it. So if they want me, they can have me. If not, this was in all 100% heart, like, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
With less than, let me rephrase that. Less than 24 hours later, we get an email. Hey, congratulations. My name is Fernando Jones. I'm the person who puts on these camps. If you can make it to London, England, we can reserve a spot for your son. And we were like, oh my God. Now how do we get there?
Right. It's actually
And
happening.
yeah. So it came to the day of. I clocked out of school. I didn't go to school for that day. I was on Fox 40 News, or the local for Sacramento,
Mhm.
saying that I was going to London, England, without plane tickets to London, England. and my brother's friend's mom saw that we were going and called my mom and said, "Oh my God, that's so great. I see your son on the news right now." Da, da, da. And she goes, "When are you flying out?" And my mom goes, "We're not." She's like, "What? You saying you're going to London, England?" She's like, "Yeah, well, we don't have the financial, room right now to go. So, we're just going to, I guess we'll just lay low for a bit and then just put them back into school." And she goes, "Oh, well, I used to travel a lot for my business. So I have enough flyer miles saved up where I'll just give you the miles, and
Wow.
I'll need your name and your social, for the boarding. And there's 2 flights right now. One is at, I think it was like 9 o'clock. The other was at like 9 p.m. So I get off the air and it's probably like around 8-ish. My
Oh.
mom runs in and goes, "Hey, we need to leave now." I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on?" "We have a flight at 9 o'clock today to go to the airport." We're at the time, the station is 5 minutes away from the airport. We didn't bring a suitcase. We didn't
Wow.
have anything packed.
Wow.
So we bust home, pack everything up, bust back to the airport, fly to LA. And I've never been on an airplane in my life at this time.
Oh, wow.
So my first flight is to LA and then 13 hours straight to London.
Wow.
And it was just an incredible experience, man. The dude was the guy, Fernando Jones, was just so encouraging. And the thing that was funny was the kids, including myself, got there early. Like, we beat Fernando almost every day to the little workshop, and we would just jam. And the
Wow.
very first day, there was a kid, I don't remember his name, but he's from LA, and he was playing a guitar solo. It was really, really ripping, and I could tell everybody else kind of wanted to play, including myself. He was just, this is like 5 minutes into a guitar solo. So nobody's taking control of the band. So I waved at him and it was like, "All right, play rhythm. You play a lead." And the saxophone kid, who's probably like under 10 years old, just killed it. And I was like, "All right, piano. Okay, now me. All right, now the other piano." So I was like taking control of the band, kind of.
Awesome.
And then the instructors walk in and see what's going on, and all they could do was laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's a composing skill, and I mean, it's just, man, that had to be a pretty great experience overall.
Oh, dude, life changing
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
Wow.
we got to play the second night of the little blues camp. We got to play in an underground pub, which was just awesome. And the adults that were there were giving the instructor a bunch of slack because they're like, "Oh, these kids can't." This is way before the show started. "Oh, you can't have kids in a bar. How old is this one?" He's like, 9. Like, "No, dude, the minimum is 16, like blah, 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 blah." And then, because there was a blues jam right afterwards. So once we started playing and all the kids and their little bands and stuff, the instructor said, "No, these kids can't leave. We need to have them in the jam." And so 30 plus kids and like 20 random strangers who, are adults ranging probably from late 20s to, my parents' age, we all just jammed and stuff. And the thing that tripped me out, this was totally unplanned. When I go up to sit in with these strangers, we're trying to figure out what everybody knows. And this woman goes, "Hey, do you know The Thrill Is Gone by B.B. King?" And I was like,
A little.
"Yeah." She goes, "All right, let's do it." And I was like, you couldn't have planned that. That was like
Yep.
a spooky moment, man.
Yeah, no doubt. That is cool. And I'll tell you, man, over in England, I've been there a couple times now, and they love their blues, man. They love
Oh
the
yeah.
blues.
Oh
And
yeah.
they live it and breathe it. It's pretty great. It's cool. It's cool, really cool
Mhm.
to see. So they had to really appreciate you for sure.
Oh, definitely. It was pretty interesting because after the blues camp, so the blues camp, I think, was from, I want to say either 8:30 or 9 till about noon to 1-ish. But it was 5 days straight. And then at the end, we did a little recital. But while we were just exploring and stuff, we'd go to music shops and all they have is the company Orange and Black Star. There's no Marshall, which I found a little strange being that it's
Yeah.
UK. And hardly any Gibsons. There was a bunch of Gretches and I think Fender. So I'd plug in and jam a little bit on my own. And I figured, people must love Zeppelin because, they're freaking of the
Yeah.
area.
Right.
So I jam on like Lemon Song and Whole Lot of Love. And then I get like a crowd of like 15 to 20 random adults that are like kind of hovering over my shoulder. So then I'd stop and like look around, and then they pretend to like check out the equipment next to me, and I'm like, it
Oh
was
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's great, man. It's got to be great to entertain people who are craving that kind of stuff. What you do, and yeah, it's great as a fan. I can tell you that. So it's very cool. Speaking of that, are you setting up any kind of tour? Are you going to go out and play these songs?
We've got some things in the works, and it's so fresh. I can't really say any of the specifics, but if the planets align, which it's looking like they will, it's going to be a killer year.
Nice.
Lots of fun.
Oh man, that's great to hear. Because I see all these things opening, and I see people, setting dates and playing shows, and it's starting to happen already. We're just crossing our fingers to hope that there's not another outbreak, and everybody's vaccinated and all that, and we're looking good, man. Because you played a show not that long ago, right? With some of the guys, JT Lux and or Red Voodoo, right?
Actually, that's coming up. That
Okay.
show is actually coming up. Yeah, we have a show with Red Voodoo. We're double headlining this place in Stockton, California, called Windmill Cove, and that's going to be another killer show because we're going to play Walk in My Shoes for the very first time live, as well as there's some new covers and stuff that like Bad Company and things that I normally wouldn't play. Like pre-COVID, it was mostly either Stevie Ray Vaughan, Bonamassa, Zeppelin, and all this stuff. But I'm trying to tap into more of that bluesy, sultry, Paul Rogers kind of vibe with my voice.
Yeah.
And so to challenge myself, I put a handful of Bad Company in the set.
There you go.
I'm either going to kill it or people are going to tell me, hey, that was okay. But
I admire that too. I admire you just going out there and doing it, man. Just do it. Because you love it. I know you love it. You crave that stuff. And it's gonna come from your heart, and it's gonna be great, man. As long as it does come from your heart, it's got to be great.
Oh yeah. I've went to shows, and I'll leave names out of it because everybody knows everybody. But it was a very huge person in the blues rock community, and this was a while ago, probably up to 5 years ago. Within 30 seconds, I could tell they were just getting a paycheck. There wasn't any heart or soul. It's just going through the motions. And this dude is like huge. And from the videos that I've seen them playing coliseums and stuff, that's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And it was total disappointment. So once I witnessed that, I was like, I can't have somebody experience that at my show. I got to give it my all every time.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's for the bartender or if it's for 500,000 people.
Absolutely. Fans can tell. You're a fan. I've been a fan standing out there. You can tell. You can just tell. And that's you hear the song, but it's just not. It's not a great performance. So there's a difference. You're lightning in a bottle when you're feeling it and you're emotionally bonded with that song. It's a great thing to watch for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Any other plans? Anything else you're up to these days? Anything we need to know?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. However, if when these things start happening, I'll be reaching out, and
Cool.
it'll be really cool.
Yeah, and you are always welcome, my friend. You know, this door is always open for you. It is always great to talk to you, always great to have you on the show. And yeah, I mean, I look so forward to what you're doing. It's you got so many years ahead of you. You've done veteran like work. These couple tracks are just so rich in musicality, and it's great to see. And I can't wait to see what the future brings for you, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Austin, let's keep in touch, man. And yeah, come on back and see me, man.
Oh, I will.
All right, all right, very cool. Yeah, keep us updated. Where can everybody find you online?
So we're in the transitioning stage of going from the Austin Mo experience to Austin Mo. So on Facebook and Instagram, on Instagram, if you type in Austin Mo _official, I'll be the very first account there. And on YouTube, the easiest way to find us at the moment is our most recent single, which is The River. If you type in The River space Austin Mo, you watch that video. It has all of our social media links embedded in the description. So Spotify, Apple Music, you name it, it's there.
Yeah.
Or actually, hold on. No, we're working on a website right now. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Yeah. I know. And a new website on the way. Very
Yeah.
cool. All right. Austin, have a great day. Like I say, my door's always open. Keep in touch. And yeah, let's let people know what you're doing, man.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. Take care, bud.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.